Yo, I finally figured out the logo for my company, Compound Interest. So if you don't know, like I make music, I'm an artist. I go by the name DJ Quemo. But I'm also gonna have, I kind of study like multiple other artists. Tyler the Creator has his thing, but then he also has Wolfgang Kill Them All, Odd Future. The Weeknd has his own thing, but he also has EXO. Drake has his own thing, but he also has OVO. Russ has his own thing, but he also has Diamond. Jay-Z has his own thing, but he also has Rockefeller. J. Cole, Dreamville. So, all these artists, they kind of create companies around their lifestyle and around their brand. And I feel like that's smart because, would I buy merch of Drake with like Drake's face on it? Would I buy merch on that? Maybe, probably not. Like, I'm not wearing another grown man's face on my body. Pause. Like, that's kind of weird. But would I rock an OVO shirt for 110%, right? So I feel like it kind of like by creating a company around your lifestyle, it kind of allows people to buy into your brand. And it almost makes it like not about you. It almost makes it like bigger than you. It's like almost like a mission or a brand that's even bigger than you. And I feel like that's like a useful monetization strategy when it comes to the music industry, because obviously like making money off your music is cool, royalties. Spotify doesn't pay a lot, but I feel like where the real play is in IP creation, studying the Mr. Beast model with Feastables and with Feastland, studying the Walt Disney business model with Disneyland, the movies, the TV shows, the merch, everything that comes with it, studying Pokemon, studying Labubu, studying Super Mario Bros. I feel like that's where the real money play is long term. So for me, the way that I'm thinking about structuring my business is like, yes, DJ Quemo is the brand, and I'm planning on doing a lot of cool stuff with that, but really focusing on building something that's bigger than me. And the idea that I had was this notion of compound interest, as like compound interest being my OVO or being my Odd Future or being my Diamond. And the reason why I thought about compound interest is because when you really break down the core of what I'm trying to do with this documentation style, with everything else, is I really want to use my life as a scientific experiment to show the power of compound interest. I believe that small progress over an extraordinary period of time leads to extraordinary results. And I want to use my life as a scientific experiment to show people that showing up every single day and doing actions every single day for a long-term goal, I want to show people how far that can take them. And this notion is a notion that's famously known in finance, known as the notion of compound interest. If you invest $100 a month and you put that in an index in like the S&P 500 that has like, let's say 7 to 10% annual returns on average, right? And then you let that sit there and you just keep investing, and you do that for like 20, 30, 40 years. At the end of 40 years, you end up with like a shit ton of money, like $1 million, $2 million, whatever the case may be. So everybody knows that this principle is true in the world of finance. But I feel like not many people have touched, this principle in the world of, has touched this principle in just the real life. Like I feel like compound interest applies to your relationships. It applies to your health. It applies to your finance, obviously, but it also applies to your career. So compound interest is everywhere. It's in nature. It's everything. And Einstein famously said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it earn it, and those who don't pay it. So I think there's a lot of power to the compound interest, and I truly feel like with what I'm doing with my documentary, that I'm really gonna, this is my equivalent to E is equal to MC square Einstein, right? This is really for me like a scientific experiment to show people like, hey, like no matter what your goal is, you want to lose weight, you want to get a job, you want to go to that school, whatever the case may be, it's like if you have a long-term goal, you'd be surprised at how far you can take it if you just show up every single day. And there's also another quote that says most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year, and they underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years. Well, if this is true and they underestimate what they can do in a decade, then how much do you think people underestimate what they can accomplish in an entire life? probably immensely. And that's what I want to show with my journey. So when I discovered that compound interest was really the thing that I wanted to highlight with my brand and my message, then I started thinking about, logos, color palettes, branding, and I started thinking about a lot of different stuff. And it was really hard to figure out what was going to be the visual identity for compound interest. I was thinking about a lot of different stuff. And then the idea finally came to me when I was at the hospital with my dad. Basically, I was thinking about the music videos that I was going to start to make and what the music videos were going to look like. And I was really inspired by Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia album. First off, Tyler the Creator is one of the smartest artists on the entire planet, maybe ever, when it comes to world building. If you look at the albums that he has made from his earliest ones to even now, especially, like every single album comes with a specific outfit, a specific character, a specific font, a specific color, a specific music video style, a specific narrative, a specific live performance. And yeah, everything is just so customized and so clean. And I really was inspired by seeing that Chromacopia rollout, and I'm like, wow, like this is amazing. And the one thing that I noticed was the Chromacopia crates. And one thing that was cool about the crates is that you see the Chromacopia crates in the music video, and they're super cool. But then in his live performances, he brings those exact same Chromacopia crates and performs on top of them. And I'm like, wow, that is so cool. It's so cool that he's able to bring a physical object from a music video and then bring it to a live performance. As a fan, it's so cool to see an object that you've seen in the cover art or the music video and see it in live. It's the same reason why Kendrick Lamar's car from his GNX album was so cool to see that at his live performance. And the same thing with Travis Scott's Rodeo doll, to see that on the cover art, but then to physically be able to hold it is very, very cool. So I feel like as a fan, there's a very powerful sensation when you're able to physically see and physically hold something tied to the music that you've seen visually. So I started thinking about what are some physical objects that I can integrate into my visuals, into my cover art, into my music videos that I could bring to life in live performances to give fans an even deeper experience. And then I started thinking, I'm like, wow, because I'm dropping music every single day, it'd be very cool if there was some sort of very, very big stopwatch in every single one of my music videos. You know what I mean? And then I started thinking about the stopwatch. I'm like, yeah, I definitely need to have a stopwatch at every single thing around my brand. Because then if I have it in my music video, I have this really huge stopwatch that's really, really cool. Whenever I do a live performance, I can take that very same stopwatch and bring it to all my live shows. And now when people see my music videos and they're like, wow, this is really cool, and they go to a live show, they'll be able to physically see and touch the same thing that they've seen in the music video. And I feel like that's gonna bring a very deep connection with the fans. And the second thing is, in terms of teasing a live performance and teasing something happening, like if I'm doing a pop-up in Montreal or a pop-up in Toronto or a pop-up in France or in the States, in Miami, Atlanta, wherever, I can do a special effect where two days before I arrive, I just put a stopwatch there, and people start taking pictures near it. It just starts creating some sort of aura. And I'm like, wow, this stopwatch effect could be like a very, very cool and distinctive thing about my brand, and nobody can copy it because it's tied directly to my narrative of dropping music every single day and documenting my life. So it's not only like some weird object that I created that anybody can just copy. For example, the Chromacopia crates, anybody can just copy that. The Travis Scott doll, anybody can just copy that. The GNX car, anybody can just copy that. But the stopwatch is so connected to my identity and my message as a brand that, yeah, someone else can do it, but it won't really work the same as me, because I'll have the year, I have the day, I have the hour, I have the minute, I have the seconds. So it's so tied to who I am as a brand that it gives me a moat. It gives me an unfair competitive advantage, an unfair identity and symbol that nobody else in the world can copy. Now, once I figured out that this stopwatch was a huge symbol for my brand and it had huge potential for my live shows and my music videos, I started thinking, wow, is there anything else I can build on top of that stopwatch. And at the time I was thinking about building my logo for compound interest, and I was like, whoa, what should the logo be, what should the font be? And I was brainstorming different ideas. And then I don't know how the idea came about. I just started thinking like, wow, maybe I should just write the word compound interest, but just use the font of a stopwatch. And then I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then I'm like, wait a minute, let me just, instead of having the whole word compound interest, let me just have the C and the I. And then I'm like, wait a minute, the C and the I for compound interest looks a lot like a 0. Then I'm like, wow, people are gonna think it's a 0, and they're gonna ask, why is 0 the logo for your cover art? And then I'm gonna have to explain, no, it's not 0, it's compound interest. So I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And I like how simple it is, because I wanted my logo to be extremely simple. I'm in love with simplicity. I don't like complicated things. Like, for example, Apple, it's an apple, bro. How simple. It's literally just an apple. I love things like that. So for me, it's like compound interest. I wanted the logo to be stupidly simple. And when I figured out the logo, I felt that this might be weird. When I figured out the logo for compound interest, my brain immediately started imagining a retail store for compound interest, where I sell music, NFTs, I sell vinyls, I sell merch, and I sell all kinds of products related to my brand. And in that store, the logo on top of that store says compound interest. And immediately when I got that thought, the first thing that came to my brain was, that is a $1 trillion brand. I don't know why I thought that, but my gut, my instincts, when I saw the stopwatch logo and the trading cards, the cover art for my songs, the documenting your story every single day, every single thing that I'm doing, and then I saw everything being encapsulated in the logo for compound interest, which is which is one of the most powerful laws in the universe. And I saw the logo written in a stopwatch font on top of a store, and I started thinking about other brands that I love, like Costco, like Apple, like Lululemon, like Gymshark, like all these iconic brands, like Nike, like Spotify, like all these iconic brands. And I saw the word compound interest. The first things that my chemicals in my brain did was say, that is a $1 trillion brand. And as soon as I figured out the logo, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do some crazy stuff with this. So that's how I figured out the logo for my company, Compound Interest. Hopefully in the future, when you guys come back to this video, hopefully I'll still have more or less the same logo. But man, I truly feel like I might have built something crazy with that, no cap. But only the future will tell. In the meantime, I'm gonna continue building, and yeah, catch you at the top.